Otherworldlyculture.com presents Thanksgiving, a panel discussion featuring Karen Cliche and Alex Armbruster, moderated by Jeff Miller, and recorded at the Horror Realm 2025 convention in Pittsburgh.
All right, well, it's 6 o'clock, and that means we're going to kick off Horror Realm 2025 with our first panel. It's going to be a Thanksgiving movie panel. My name is Jeff Miller. I am part of Otherworldly Culture. I also host a podcast with Tim Kretschmann. It's called Dead on the Bases. We mix a horror movie with a sports movie. You gotta check it out to see what we do with it. But tonight, we're here with Karen Cliche. You know her from Vampire High, Mutant X, Young Blades, and Saw 6, and Thanksgiving. She's a true icon of the horror and fantasy worlds. Joining her will be the multi-talented Alex Armbruster, stunt performer, actor, filmmaker, whose work brings heart-stopping action and realism to the screen. Please welcome them to the stage. Hey, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello. Have a seat.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Because we have a ride to go here.
All right.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I think it. There, go ahead. Perfect.
Check.
All right.
Oh wow, you took your mic off.
Yeah.
It's like karaoke vibes.
Exactly. So both Alex and Karen starred in the 2023 movie Thanksgiving, which is an hour and 46 minutes long. Let's get started. So why don't you both let everyone know, how did you get the role in Thanksgiving? What drove you both to it? Because I know, Karen, the last horror movie you were in was Saw 6 before that. Mm-hmm. So why don't you let us know what drew you to Thanksgiving?
So I'll go first because it's very short and sweet. I sent in a tape and then I got a call and I got the part. So it was really that simple. But I remember when I got the audition, it was like a really busy time. I think it was in January. And, got the audition, as you do as an actor. And I was like, oh, what's this movie about Thanksgiving? Looks sweet. And because we didn't really have any information, so I did my audition, sent it in, got the call, didn't get a call back or anything, but just got the part, which was like, yeah, that was nice. And then once I got the script, I was like, oh, this is not a sweet little movie about Thanksgiving. I was like, oh shit. And then when I found out what happened to me, I was like, oh shit. And yeah, so once obviously saw the trailers from like the Grindhouse movie, I knew what we were in for. So that was it.
Being out of horror for that long, you said you didn't know what the movie was about. When you saw it, were you like, oh my God, I'm getting back into horror? Was that ever the plan, to get back into horror?
Well, when I did Saw 6, I was newly pregnant, so I took a lot of time off after Saw 6 to raise my daughter, so I was fully immersed in horror for about 15 years before I did Thanksgiving. So the horror of parenting, no, I'm just kidding. Only when she was a colicky baby, that was horrible, but no, I was really enmeshed in that world, so it was a nice like comeback, actually.
All right.
Yeah, for me, my bread and butter is doing stunts primarily at this point, or at least up until this point. And the way we get work is it's all networking. We don't have agents, actually, so we often don't have to audition for the jobs that we get, which is good. But when things go wrong on a set or whatever, we have to deal with it. And whereas like for an actor, their agent will deal with it. Yeah, exactly. So I've learned how how the production works and how to go get what you deserve, sort of thing. If they don't pay you properly or something like that, you have to deal with that on your own. But so for me, it was just basically a matter of I was researching one day what films are coming into Toronto, which is where I work most of the time. And this Thanksgiving movie was coming in. Didn't know anything about it at all. But I did see that Patrick Dempsey was attached to it. And I looked up his height and the dimensions and stuff, and I said, "Oh, he's 5'9". I'm 5'9". Who's stunt coordinating this? Interesting. That's who we get the stunt jobs from. You get hired from the stunt coordinator on a film or a TV show. And so he happened to be a friend of mine that I've worked with several times in the past. And he also did, his name's Dan Skeen. He did Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, and the show Letterkenny, if you're aware of that one. So I sent him a message saying, hey, I see you're doing Thanksgiving. I'm Patrick Dempsey's sizes if you need a double, or I'm a stunt double. And he said, actually, I do. Do you want the job? I'm like, yep, sure. So gave me the job on the spot pretty much. I didn't know what I was getting into, but what a nice surprise.
Fantastic. That's great. I mean, that's a great way to get in there. I mean, checking it out.
It's all networking.
It's all about, that's what it's like in every industry, all about networking. Did either of you, after you watched the movie, what were your thoughts of it? I mean, when you guys film it, it's filmed out of sequence, so did either of you, I'm sure you both watched it, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Can you both kind of comment on that? What you thought of it after you watched it? You thought of your performance? You thought of the actual movie itself?
I thought it was fun. It was a really, I mean, obviously, from our perspective of making the movie, you don't have a lot of surprises, especially being the killer. You know when it's all going to happen. So it's like a weird way to watch a horror movie. Sure. But it's fun. I mean, I don't watch a lot of horror movies in general, so I'm kind of a wussy kind of guy, and I hold the blanket in front of my face. I'm like, just tell me when it's going to, And so, it was just fun to go and watch it for me. I quite enjoyed it.
Did you see it at the theater?
I did, yeah. We had a little premiere in Toronto, like a pre-screening, I think, a couple days before it actually was released everywhere else. So,
yeah, we'd seen that, and then I went to go see it on release day with my friends. So I was like, oh, this is going to be so fun. I'm going to bring my friends, super supportive friends. And so we're watching it. And of course, my friends know me, and they're, I'm super self-deprecating and such a goof. But so we were watching it, and it's like my intense scene. So I'm just like, oh my God, it's like my big moment, right? And as like the basting and the seasoning started, my friends start howling, just like laughing. And I was kind of like, okay, quiet, just quiet. And then people kind of turning around like, what's going on? They ruined it for everybody because they were just howling. They're like, look at your feet! Oh my God! They're like, oh my God! And they're just like making fun. I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, I'm never bringing you guys to any of my premieres ever again. So yeah, that was kind of like a disaster experience, but it was really fun. But yeah, I saw it in the theaters, I guess, twice.
So when you hear about Scream Queens, how do you rate your scream? You were screaming in there, you were running around.
I screamed so much, I lost my voice for like 2 days.
Really?
Yeah. Like at the end of the whole oven scene, by the end, because we did so many different angles, right? We did outside the oven, we did above the oven. So usually I was like, there was always like one door that was open, so the camera could get the shot. But there was at one point where I was completely locked in, because it was from his POV, and so everyone's like, oh my God, I could not have done that if I was claustrophobic. And there were times where I was like, this is a little cozy. I need some air. But yeah, I definitely lost my voice, and when it was like, Eli was like, okay, more, like we did it all day, and I had to tell him, I'm like, okay, Eli, I have one more take in me. That's it. And he was like, okay, so this is the shot, we're gonna do this big close-up, and that's when I did, and then I was just like, I couldn't speak for 2 days.
Oh man. Let me ask you about that then. So, I mean, I don't know how many people know this. I found this out because I did some research. So, you guys redid that scene. Can you talk about that, please? Can you explain to them exactly what you did in the time frame that you got before it was released? Oh, both of you.
Yeah, so it actually wasn't redone. It was added. It wasn't actually going to be in the movie to begin with.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reveal, I was always the turkey. Like, it was always that grand finale, but there was none of that in between stuff, right? No chase, nothing, right? So I just know that in the summer, because we shot it in April, May?
Yeah. I think it was March and April.
Yeah. Shot it, wrapped it, whatever. We're all moving on with our lives, and then I remember getting a text in the summer from Eli saying, "Are you ready for more?" And I was like, more what? Like, what do you... Well, coming from him, I was like, this could mean anything. I don't know. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, here's what I want to do. And so I have the text. He's just like, you're chasing, basting, parsley, pepper, oil, screaming in the oven, tied up. And I was like, whoa. And he's like, let me pitch it to Sony and I'll write it. And like, I'll let you know if it gets approved. I was like, cool, I'm available. Like anytime. I'm available. Whenever you need me, forever. Like desperate actor, right? And then he was like, we're approved. And so we went in August and shot the whole thing, the pitchfork scene, the fridge with the cheerleader, and like the oven scene, everything.
Really? So that was all added?
Yep.
That was all rewritten, and then the film came out, like 6 weeks later?
Yeah.
It was like,
wow.
It was mostly edited already. He showed us the first trailer when we were shooting those scenes at that point, so it got us really pumped up for it.
One take.
yeah, we're so good.
Yeah.
Just one take.
4 days of screaming, pretty much.
So much torture, like the me dragging in the ground when he's dragging me. My fingernails were flying off. Not my fake nails, my real nails.
Oh,
I
man.
was digging for dear life. Crazy. I was black and blue from being tied up and just like pounding the oven. Like I was mega injured, self-inflicted because I got a little intense. But yeah, it was fun.
So I was going to say, because it has some of these brutal, intense kills. I mean, that was something else for you. Then I mean, that was over the top for both of you, or?
Yeah, I mean, being a stunt performer, I've been killed over probably 100 times on screen, and so I've seen some ways to die, but this was all very unique, not something I was used to, so I knew it would be special.
I was going to ask you both, what was it like working with Eli? I mean, you kind of gave us an idea with the text message, but can you give us a little insight of what that was like day to day?
He was very focused and intense. He has everything in his brain already edited for the whole movie basically, and he just has a very clear vision of what he wants. So everything's very efficient when he runs it on set. There's no wasted time, no wasted scenes. Like everything we do is for a purpose. So
yeah, he's really fun too. Like we'd just be hanging out in the green room between takes, and he'd come in and he'd be like, "So anyway," and he would just tell this 20-minute long story, like some like famous Hollywood story or something, and then he'd be like, "Okay, let's go shoot." So he always came in with like all these crazy anecdotes and really fun stuff, and he's always just really like intense, but really, really such an actor's director, and really like loved improv, encouraged us to improvise, and I really just loved working with him. And I remember him telling me, he was like, "I want this to be the best kill of my career, Karen." And I was like, "Oh God, no pressure." And then he texted me at the end of the day. He was like, "Mission accomplished." That was great. So now he's got to like top that. I don't know how he's going to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Oh, we know what's down the road, but we'll talk about that a little later on.
Yeah.
So we'll get into a couple other things, but since we have top of mind of working with Eli, do you have any stories behind the scenes that maybe we haven't heard already? Something that maybe happened that was different than a normal day on the script?
Only thing I can think of is the clown in the parade.
I was going to bring it up, but go ahead. Let's hear it now.
Yeah. I don't know if he said that in the not the director's cut, but the commentary.
Okay.
But in that scene, it was originally supposed to be either Patrick or myself doing that part of it, and I showed up to work that day. I was supposed to be the guy. I was dressed up as the guy, and then last minute he changed the actor to Milo Manheim, who played Ryan, the other taller boyfriend. And just for fun, I think he just had a conversation last second with all of a lot of the cast, and they just decided, let's throw Ryan in there, So.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up. I was going to ask you what it was like to take a whack like that. I mean, that was something that axe going through
the turkey head.
Turkey, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have a story. I have a little anecdote for you guys.
Great.
So one thing that they did have to reshoot was this. So the big final reveal of like me on the dining room table where everyone's like tied up and gagged and is like being force fed pieces of me. What do I do for a living? Oh my God. Anyway, so they had filmed all that, but the original prosthetic of my body, shall we say, was a little less dressed.
Oh.
A little more provocatively posed.
Okay.
I wasn't there on the day, but apparently they shot the whole day like super intense. Everybody's like screaming, and they were about to wrap. They're like, "Oh, it was great, you guys. It was awesome." One of the executives came down and saw me on the table, and I think that there might have been a meat thermometer put somewhere. That wasn't.
Oh man!
You get what I'm saying? And she was like, "Hell no! This won't fly." And so they had to reshoot it.
Oh man!
So they're like, "Put some clothes on her." and reshoot it. So they had to reshoot that whole scene, with my little outfit on. They put a little outfit on.
And Patrick originally actually was behind the mask for a lot of that scene and during that. And then when they did have to do the reshoots for it, I had to go in and watch how he did everything and redo everything, like most of it anyway, and all the parts that you could see her in, or her character. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was it working with Patrick?
It was great. Yeah, it was awesome. He was very respectful to like the stunt department in particular, and he listened to everything that we said, which was great because like everyone's safety depends on it, and especially when he was on the back of the pickup truck slamming the axe down on Nell. That was a real axe, and some of the shots that we did, so it had to be done very carefully. But yeah, he was great, and we talked about racing Porsches and stuff a lot too, which he's really into. So that was very fun.
Yeah, he was great. He was just as handsome. He proposed to me, but I said no.
Wow.
I was like, no, Patrick, please. No, he was great. He was really funny actually too.
Let me ask you, I mean, Thanksgiving mixes some dark humor along with horror. Was that hard for you guys to work with? Or I mean, is that something that's hard to work with when you're mixing some sort of humor with horror? Or because it was dark, it really didn't make a difference?
I'm used to working on The Boys, if you know that show, so it wasn't very different for me. Yeah.
No, thanks to my dysfunctional childhood, I have a dark sense of humor, so this was totally fun for me. Thanks, Dad. See dark humor? Get it? No.
So, let me ask you, Alex, was there some stunts on the set that you're like, I don't know if this is going to work this way? Did you have any kind of control over that? And if you did, was there something that you pulled back on or that you added to that you can think of? Like, come on, there's no way we can do this realistically.
Let me think here. There was a few scenes that were tricky, and I was involved not only in just the like behind the mask and everything. I was involved in the stunt safety for some other stunts that were happening as well. There was one particular tough stunt to figure out, and that was when in the parade the guy on the stilts got hit by the truck.
Okay.
It was a pretty tricky one logistically to figure out and do safely without breaking the guy's legs. So we ended up having to have a big rehearsal day and figure that out, and we had to get the guy on the stilts up onto like a lifted platform so he could get properly on top of the hood of the truck. Otherwise he would just get rammed by the radiator of the truck, and it just would be super dangerous. So little things like that. In terms of John Carver's stunts, it was all pretty straightforward from my point of view. We made everything happen, and it was all very organic too. Often on films you'll have big rehearsals and fight choreos that are like pre-done and they get approved by the director and all this stuff. In this one, we just kind of showed up and he had an idea in his head of what he wanted, and we used the environment around us to come up with something kind of on the spot, and it seemed to work really well actually.
Great. Yeah. Let me ask you both, or maybe Karen, what was the vibe working like in Toronto? I mean, have you worked in Toronto a lot, either one of you? I mean, how is it different than working here, or how was that?
Well, for us Canadians, we were used to working in Toronto. So Alex and I are both Canadian. So Toronto was kind of like home for us. So it was really nice. It was in and around Toronto. But filming in Canada in March and April ain't so fun. So I remember this, the farmers market scene. I remember that particular day we went through all 4 seasons in like 2 hours. It hailed, and then it was raining, and then it was sunny, and then it was like, so it was just a logistical nightmare for continuity. But so no, it's home for us. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I've never worked in the States as like on a film set either, but I work with a lot of Americans that come up and shoot with us too, and I think it's relatively the same deal. There's not a lot of differences. Maybe the weather, like that. Okay. Yeah, again, that would be the only thing. But I mean, there were some scenes like in the parade warehouse, for example. Like that was in the middle of, it was April, but we were shooting it in this abandoned power plant. And it's a freezing place, and we always have to shoot there because it looks really cool inside, and they use it for all these action movies and everything too. And it's called the Hearn. It's a nasty place, and
Don't go there.
It's well known in the film industry up there. But so we had to shoot there for, I think it was like 4 nights in a row, all night. And this is where the tow truck scene was. And I had to, when I was doubling for Patrick in the sheriff's outfit.
Sure.
I had to be on the back of the pickup truck and get, as they take off, I have to fly off with the axe backwards onto the concrete and get the cable and wrap it around all in one shot. And this was at maybe 3 a.m. when even a stunt performer does not feel like getting thrown off a truck, but you got to do it anyway.
This may be remedial and maybe I'm missing something, but that parade scene, was that one shoot? Because you have smoke bombs going off and all that. Did you do that parade scene in one shoot, or
one day?
One day, but there was multiple shoots?
Actually, so it was 2 days, yeah. So the big, the main parade where everything's fine, everything's good. That was one day, and then another day was when the smoke's going off. It was kind of
in 2 different locations too.
Yeah. Oh, really?
The first location for everything when everything was good, it was in a little town outside of Toronto called Port Perry. I think that was the one, right? And then they actually had a back lot that was built for the show Reacher years ago, and they rented it out to Thanksgiving to use. And as they come around a corner, it's a different location, and then that's when all of the hell ensues. And it's a controlled environment for all of that stuff. I think that was one of the reasons we did it there.
Was it hard to get? Do you know if it was hard to get extras for that? You see the crowd seating and all that. Did they move the crowd around so they'd fill it up, or was the crowd there when you got there? Was there a wait on that? Was there any difficulty with that you would know of?
No, I think when everyone knew that Addison Rae was going to be in this movie and Patrick Dempsey, they were sign me up. So we had a surplus of people. Yeah, they were very
yeah.
Oh yeah.
How was it? I guess to work. I guess you teed that one up for me. How was it to work with Addison Rae? There we
Do you
go.
have something to say, Gina? What was that?
What's your dog's name?
Blackjack.
All right. 21.
Blackjack.
Well, what was it like? She's an influencer and she made herself famous on TikTok. How was it working with her? Did she have the whereabouts to be I'm working with actors and actresses? How did she handle herself? How was it interacting with her?
She was great. She was. I knew nothing about it. I'm much older than these TikTokers.
Come on.
So much older, 5 years older.
You look great.
So I didn't know her. I was like, who is she? I'm like, she's gorgeous. I saw her pictures, and you don't know what to expect. But honestly, she was the sweetest. She was very, very sweet, very respectful. She was great. Everyone on this movie was amazing. Top to bottom, from Patrick Dempsey to just everyone was so great. It was really good.
I had no idea who she was either. And the first time I met her was in the reshoot of the dinner scene there, and she seemed very nice. Another funny one was I'm a Tim Dillon fan now, but I didn't know who, because I had to do the beheading scene with him.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I was in we call it base camp where all the trailers are, and I was just getting in the shuttle to go to set. And then he comes over and we're in the shuttle together, and I'm just talking to him. I had no idea who he was, and then I found out later. I'm like, it's Tim Dillon. Oh well.
Do you have a favorite? Let's take the oven scene out of there. Do you have a favorite kill of this movie?
It's between the oven scene's really good, but at a close second would be the Tim Dillon beheading, and then feeding the cat afterwards, because I'm a cat person and I thought that was a good choice.
What about you, Karen?
I would say this is a weird one, but because it's actually a phobia of mine that when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, someone else thinks this way. It's when Gina's scalp got ripped off from getting stuck in the wheel of the shopping cart or something. Yeah. Because I have this phobia when I'm going down an escalator, especially when my hair is longer, that it gets caught in that. I don't know why I have this weird phobia, but well, it's not a phobia. It's manageable, okay? With meds. No, I'm just kidding. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, yes, now it's a phobia. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite stunt in any movie that you've been in? Do you have some stunt that's been your favorite, or?
In The Boys, I got to light my crotch on fire. That was pretty fun.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
I have to say I haven't seen that. So why don't you fill us in a little bit of that?
There's in season 3, there's an episode called Hero-gasm. So
okay.
basically a big orgy with superheroes, and I get to walk across frame with my crotch on fire, and I'm like supposed to be a superhero that can has his dick on fire, basically. So
How do we get on this series? I have to call my agent.
they're filming season 5. It's the last one. Get on it.
Get my agent on the phone, pronto.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Alex. There had to have been a time frame. I mean, what's the time frame here? You got to get across in 30 seconds. I mean, this is a one-take deal. What was this all about?
It was a one. Yeah. It was a short thing. To my knowledge, no one's ever done that before, like just that.
Okay.
So we had to figure it out and how to do it safely. So I did a little one-day rehearsal prior to this in one of the studios with some of the other stunt guys, and I have this like a jock, right, like a cup. So I gave the wardrobe department that, and then they made a silicone mold out of that to help protect the region, and then we use Nomex, which is like it protects race car drivers in their cars in case their car lights on fire. So we use that as well. And I had some old shirts of that, so we ended up using that, and they cut it up and made basically like this little thong kind of thing out of it. So we covered the region there with that, and then and we have a special fire gel that we also use that helps protect, and stuff some of that in there, and then added the accelerant, and it seemed to work. And then I had a little bit of gel like up on my chest as well, because that's where the heat rises up. So everything from there, like where you would feel the pain, is actually further up.
Okay.
Especially like under your chin.
I'm going to take your word for that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try this out, so all right, good.
All the heat collects in the crevices, so you get it all up in here. You have to wash your armpits and all these areas.
You waxed, right? You waxed your chest?
I waxed everywhere, actually. Yeah.
There you go.
Actually, I didn't know.
No one needed to know everyone actually did.
No, it was more of, anyway, that's TMI. I won't get into it.
This is part of my revenge plan, just embarrassing Alex.
What about you, Karen? I mean, sure, you have the scene in Thanksgiving, but let's dip back into Saw or something else. Would you have a kill scene that was just stands out, or?
Of my own?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I survived Saw 6, so that was victorious. But I was 3 months pregnant on that carousel, which was lovely when you have morning sickness and just spinning around and around all day long. That was nice. But usually, I mean, I've killed more people than I've been killed on movies, because I always play a bitch or a killer, so I have a good kill count.
Do you have a favorite kill? One that you think of that you're like, yeah, I got her.
Well, I can't. I got her. I killed a lot of boys. Okay? I like to kill men more than I do women.
Wait, let me move away a little bit further.
All you men in the audience, watch out.
I'll treat you very well. I poured that water just so you know, all right?
Thank you. Okay, you're safe.
Yeah, all right.
No, I was lucky. I did a lot of TV series when I was younger where I played like a lot of action roles, and so I got to beat up a lot of people, and that was really fun. Very enjoyable, strangely. So.
That's why I do what I do.
Can I get into stunts as well?
Hey, I can make it happen. We'll talk.
Would you do it? Would you get into stunts?
No, not at this age. But like I said, when I was in my 20s, I did a lot of my own fights, and I did this show that you were talking about when you introduced me with Young Blades. I played a guy who disguised as I played a girl who disguised. I just came out.
The deep voice.
Guys, Mom.
You gotta show them your deep voice.
I just came out. No, I played a girl who disguised as a guy to become a musketeer. So that was really cool. So I played this series where I was disguised as a boy. And I got to sword fight and horseback rides. That was really fun. So I had some really cool opportunities as a girl. You know, we don't often get to play those kinds of roles, so that was really fun. Yeah.
So we're gonna mix it up a little bit. We're gonna go a little off the beaten path. Seeing that this is a Thanksgiving movie, talk about your own Thanksgivings. What's your favorite part of Thanksgiving? Is it the turkey? Is it the stuffing? Is it just watching a parade? Is it watching football? What's your favorite part, Alex?
For me, it's the cranberry sauce, I think.
We talking cranberries out of a can?
No. This is like
All right.
I'll make it from scratch, which it's like 3 ingredients. It's pretty easy, but we'll make a big bowl of it. I'm not a gravy guy, so I'll douse everything in it. It'll just be a plate of red. Just yeah. I mean,
Kind of
Never
horror.
heard anyone
right?
say that.
Yeah.
Kind of horror.
Yeah.
That's right. You like it because it looks funny.
What about you, Karen?
Well, not to sound cheesy, but I really love like the whole gratitude part of it. I mean, I love the food. I definitely love the food part, but I did a lot of gratitude journaling and stuff like that. So I really like it. I like to use the opportunity to be grateful for stuff and to like vocalize it and see what everyone else is grateful. Cheesy.
No, that's fine.
It's true though.
Do you have a favorite part of the turkey? Because we kind of cut off part of your thigh in the movie. I mean, is there something? Do you not eat like the thigh anymore? What, I mean, has it scarred you? Or
No, I like all kinds of meat, dark, white. You know what
all
I'm
right.
saying?
She's on
I'm trying to
Tinder.
embarrass you, and you're doing well. How am I doing? You know, your bud back there told me to embarrass you, and I said I'll do it.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Oh, okay. I know how to up the ante.
All right.
Audience, will you let me? Can you just at least encourage me? I
Oh,
need some
yeah.
positive encouragement.
Okay, anyway.
He's like gonna wrap it up now. Ooh, we gotta go all the time now.
We're gonna open up that.
Oh, all of a sudden.
What about you, Alex?
Me, favorite part of the turkey, the dark meat
Dark
for sure.
meat, yeah.
Yeah. You gotta have it moist.
Got it.
Oh, please don't say that more.
Moist.
Okay, now we gotta wrap it up. He just said moist.
Great word.
Would you prefer to be a killer or the killie?
The killer doesn't have to take the hits, so it's nice to change. Yeah, it's nice to change it up. It's a little more comfortable.
Have you ever, before Karen answers, have you ever been hurt in a stunt?
Yes, in the movie Suicide Squad, I broke my ankle pretty bad. In the finale scene, the character I doubled was Diablo, the fighter guy.
Yeah.
So I was bald and had the tattoos and all that stuff. In the finale, I got kicked backwards by the one of the villains who was called Incubus, and I was on a wire, which was we call a ratchet, and basically a wire attached to a series of pulleys, which is attached to a big hydraulic piston that compresses, and then that in turn pulls it all through the system, and then pulls me.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and so I got flung 60 feet backwards, over a flight of stairs, through a breakaway window, and then into a wooden wall. And after the breakaway window, I was supposed to keep going backwards and hitting my back off the wall because I had a back pad on, and I just had like a tank top kind of thing on, and so I didn't have any elbow pads or anything, no helmet or anything. And after I hit the breakaway window, my leg swung behind me. I knew it wasn't a good thing, and I tried to swing it back, but I didn't have enough time, and it just got all mangled in the wall, and I just hit super hard, and immediately knew something was wrong. Ended up having a spinal fracture on my left fibula.
Wow.
And I was out for 6 months after that. But they used the shot, and the director came up after, and he's like, "Hey man, like, I'm sorry that happened to you, but we got it." I'm like, good. And then I was getting like helped out to the shuttle to go to the hospital to see what was going on. And Will Smith is just kind of sauntering by, and he's like, "Hey man, what happened?" I'm like, I might have broke my ankle. He's like, "All right, I hope you get better." Gave me a fist bump and sent me on my way. And I thought that was pretty cool because the first CD I ever bought when I was a kid was Will Smith Big Willie style. So
Nice.
I thought that was a pretty cool moment.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So let me just follow that up. So on something like that, you're just doing it once. So you're taking what they set up as gospel, like this is going to work. Is that correct? I mean,
we did a few rehearsals beforehand
How do you do
with
that,
mats.
though?
So we will set up mats there. We'll try
Okay.
to do it as safely as possible. The problem was the mat that I was impacting into was a soft, like 8-inch mat, and it doesn't react the same as if there were no mat there. Basically, like I stopped before the wall in that scenario. And I didn't need to hit the back wall because the shot was from down the stairs and right from in front of me, so they didn't actually see the back wall. So I didn't need to hit it.
Okay, all right.
It was unplanned. I just kept sliding on the floor fast into the wall, and so we didn't have any sometimes we put high dense foam in there, and that's painted like the wall would be, so
Okay.
we can help protect a little bit. and take some of the sting out of it, but we didn't have any of that, and it was just into wood. And
so one more thing about that. So that was that in the middle? I mean, if you busted your ankle up, was that towards the end of the movie that where you weren't needed anymore?
No, it was the end of the movie. We did it like pretty chronologically.
Okay.
Which we don't always do, but in this case we did, and so most of it was done. They did get a second shot of. They needed a shot of my character coming from behind, like into the shop, and in that scenario, they had one of the stunt riggers that was there was my size, and he was already bald. So we're like, all right, throw. His name is Simon Gerard, and they threw him. They got him all in the tattoos really quick, and they threw him in, and they changed the rig so that he didn't. He ended up in the middle of the room instead of into the wall. So they used the second part of the shot with him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Karen, what about you? Would you rather be the killer, killee? You've done them both.
Yeah, I would say I've done more killing than being the killee. So I think I prefer killing.
You do?
Definitely do.
If you could have your dream kill, what would that be?
Ooh. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I really enjoyed shooting machine guns when I did a series called Adventure Inc. I shot a lot of really cool guns. I don't know if anyone knows what a Stoner 63 is, but they're very rare, and it's like a belt fed, and it was incredible. It was like, wow. It was really awesome, and like M16s and AK-47s and 50 calibers, but anyway, whatever. Those are really fun, so I do enjoy shooting those. So I'd love to do a little bit more gunplay for sure, yeah.
Do you ever get to the range? I mean, on your own, personally?
The last time I did, it was just with like air, like it wasn't like real, It wasn't real ammo, but yeah, I would definitely go back. Anyone want to take me shooting?
Oh yeah, I'd take you. I just went ski shooting last weekend.
Okay, let's go.
It's a blast. Let me ask you this, and then we'll get to some questions from the audience. What is it like when you mentioned on Suicide Squad, you recorded or you filmed it pretty chronologically. Was Thanksgiving chronological? And the second part of this is, how do you feel about that when you have to do something not in sync? Is it difficult to film like that? So whoever wants to answer, and you both can.
I would say as an actor, it is, and usually all films are filmed out of order. So you really have to get really good at understanding where you are in the script, where your character is, where the relationships are at this point. But it's always really hard because it seems like every time you start a movie, they do the most intimate, most emotional scenes first when you haven't established a relationship with your co-star or anything like that. So that's where you got to really take your talent and to the next level, because you have to really, really be into it and know where you are in the script. So. It's always out of order, like 99% of the time, but it's just something we're used to, I guess, like that. But obviously, I feel like it always gets better. The more a cast knows each other, more there's chemistry. It makes a big difference. So I really wish that they would take that into account when they're doing a shooting schedule. Is just save like the big emotional stuff for later, because like relationships have developed. So.
Alex, before you answer, that brings in one question real quick. What was it like working with Rick Hoffman?
Oh, hilarious. I mean, we had all those things together, right? So
exactly. He's a fun guy, it seems like. He's
really funny. He's really great. When we were on the parade float for, 12 hours, and it was really cold, we were just like blabbing and getting to know each other and talking. And so, you know how elaborate, I mean, the one pass of the parade took about an hour to shoot, and because then we have to like reset all the floats, come back. So him and I were like really enjoying like getting to know each other, and then we had like our big warm-up jackets, right? That's what you do, and then when they say "and action" or like rolling, you take off your jacket, you hide it, and you're just like. And so we're like talking. I take off my jacket. He's like blabbing. He's telling me more stories, whatever. And then we get to the very end of the street, and I'm like, Rick! I'm like, holy shit! Like you saw your jacket on. And they just filmed this whole parade, and he had this big warm-up jacket on. And he was like, oh shit. He's like, Eli's gonna kill me. And I don't know what happened with that. But he was really great, and Eli loves him so much, like is obsessed with Rick and thinks he's the funniest thing. So all of my scenes with Rick, I don't know how much made it into the movie, but actually there was this one whole scene where Rick and I and Jalen, who played Bobby, we improvised for like 10 minutes because Eli was just like, just go. It's like, just say whatever. And I was like, oh my God, here I am with like Rick, who's like improv king. So that was really fun. So yeah, it was great.
And if you watch the movie, which you have, but make sure if you haven't stayed till the very end, you got a little surprise ending there for you all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he's like, he's like, screw you, the camera kept rolling on him or something. Yeah, so Eli was always doing that stuff with him. He would just be like giggling behind the monitor.
As far as a stuntman, what is it like shooting in sequence and compared to out of sequence?
Usually for me, for a lot of other movies up until Thanksgiving, I typically like jump in and out of scenes like when they need me, and I'm just focusing on that particular scene, so it doesn't affect me usually at all. Mm-hmm. With Thanksgiving, for me at least, it was relatively chronological actually, because the first scene I was ever in the costume, it was for the diner fight, and then the car crash right after, which was all in the same night, by the way, and then everything like the beheading, it was all very chronological, so it was easy for me to figure that out. Yeah.
So, Karen, what I'm going to ask you first, because I know there is a Thanksgiving 2, but you won't be there.
Are we going to discuss my unemployment?
We're going to ask, what do you have coming up? You got something coming up, Karen?
Well, not Thanksgiving.
maybe a flashback or something.
Yeah, maybe you get a flashback.
I'm just asking you. I'm like, can you just write me in a flashback?
Or a little like memory of like Rick kind of thinking about you or something.
Us in Hawaii, where he's remembering us frolicking on the beach in Maui. Yes. Yeah. Get those letters coming.
You got it.
So right now, nothing. I have a movie that's just came out called Race Walkers. It's hilarious. It's like a funny movie. But I do a lot of voice work. So I do a lot of work, like commercials with my voice. So that's actually what I've been focusing on. And I do a lot of teaching. So I teach acting as well, and coaching and stuff like. So that's actually kind of like something I'm transitioning in long term. So I really love that.
Fantastic. Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about what you have coming up, Alex, and Thanksgiving too. If you can talk a little bit about that at all.
I'm not 100% confirmed for it yet.
Wait, what? Yeah, John Carver isn't confirmed?
Believe it or not, I'm not.
Right, okay.
I have spoken to Eli a little bit about some stuff, but which he's offered up to me. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Actually, Eli offered me the part of John Carver. I'm announcing it here. Part of my revenge.
Yeah. There we go.
I stole your part.
All right. Take it easy.
Total reveal. You'll see their tables are going to be moved apart now.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you got? You got anything else coming up?
I worked last spring on a new Guillermo del Toro movie called Frankenstein.
Cool.
Might see me in there a little bit. What else do we got going on? Twisted Metal Season 2. You might see me in there. What else? Yeah, just jumping around to a lot of different shows right now. Yeah.
Do you guys have any advice for future actresses or stunt people? Anything that they should, potholes that they should avoid, pitfalls, or stuff that they should do, or anything? Just pursue your dreams, or anything in particular?
Just go for it, for sure. You got one life, so just pursue your dreams, for sure. All right. It's easier when you're young. Do it when it's easier when you live at home.
Still getting meals on the table, right?
Yeah, that's how I did it. It worked out pretty well. And I mean, for stunts anyway, just like train hard. Get as good at as many things as possible, which will increase your likelihood of working more. And just have a good attitude. That's kind of the biggest thing. With whatever you do, have a good attitude. Mm-hmm. And just try and be part of the team as much as possible.
Yeah, reputation matters. I know like a lot of people might think, or maybe you don't, but a lot of people think that, to be an actor, like a diva, and that's kind of the behavior on set that gets you ahead. It's actually not. Like reputation is really, really important, and being a good person, and people like working with you, and then they'll offer you parts, right? So it's actually really important. And patience. If anybody here wants to be an actor, you gotta have patience and be really cool with rejection. Not take it personally, because you never know, right? You never know what can happen. Every day is different, so that's kind of the fun of it.
I'll tell you what, let's open it up to all of you out here. I'm sure there's plenty of questions. Let's ask Karen and Alex some questions about Thanksgiving, or whatever you want to ask them about.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite person to work with on The Boys?
Ooh. it's really cool watching Anthony Starr work. Like, just his acting is amazing. Yeah, it's his character is so good and evil, and yeah, it's pretty cool watching him work. That was really cool. I mean, everyone's really nice on it, though. The Deep, Chase Crawford, he's a funny guy to work with as well. Yeah. Yeah, everyone's really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another one. All right, so anyways, well, I'll let them think. They'll think of something. Before all of this, you guys are you're youngins. Do you have a favorite horror movie or a favorite movie growing up? Something that, like maybe, or stunt movie or a horror action movie or whatever that maybe flipped that switch to go into acting, or that you're like, you always thought, oh yeah, this is a movie that just started it all for you? Or an actress or an actor that did that?
Back to the Future is my favorite movie and trilogy ever, and the character of Marty McFly always like resonated with me, and I like wanted to be him, and he was like the epitome of being cool. So and he did all the really cool stunts in that movie with like the skitching behind the cars on the skateboard and all that stuff. So like that was really cool, and but I've always loved like just like going into a movie theater and just like watching like like the Universal thing come across and all the music and everything and how the sound just like envelops you. I've always loved movies and just everything about them. So I've always like in some shape or form wanted to have some sort of involvement in that world, and it's pretty cool how it's manifested itself into that.
Cool. What about you, Karen?
I would say, well, anyone grew up in the 80s?
Oh yeah, I'm sitting right here. Yeah.
Not the 1800s. But
wow. Okay, Jen, thank you. All right.
No, I was a huge Wonder Woman fan. Like, growing up, I used to love that show and Linda Carter, and I just loved her outfit. And I actually had a little outfit. It was like, but I was young. I was living in Virginia, I remember. So I was maybe like 7 years old, and I had a little outfit, and I would run around the front yard and like pretend to like, just act stuff out in my front yard. I was always had like this big imagination, so I can only imagine like just the neighbors looking and seeing this little girl in her Wonder Woman like bra and underwear set running around the front yard. But I really like loved that. So I always really loved like Charlie's Angels. So as a kid, I loved like strong female characters all the time. So I think it's kind of nice that I ended up doing a lot of those roles, because that's kind of what like shaped my desire to be in the film business.
If either one of you weren't in the film business, what would you be?
Well, I did a semester of psychology at university, so I wanted to either work in psychology, social work somehow, and that's why I love acting, because it's a lot of like, the way I approach acting is like human behavior, more perspective than theory and like technique. So I really just love I love true crime. I love analyzing people. I just love like the human mind. So I would probably work in that domain for sure.
I would probably be a pro athlete, which I basically did. I was basically a pro rollerblader, and I did live shows around the world before getting into film. Yeah. So I did flips on ramps and grinds and all that kind of stuff. And but there's unfortunately not a lot of money in that these days, so it transitioned into film pretty well. But I also went to school for business as well, so I either maybe start a indoor skate park or some sort of skate shop or something along those lines. That was always.
But your guys' path is way cooler, way more fun, right? You guys you're living the dream.
I'm enjoying it.
We're gonna wrap this up then. I want to say thank you to Karen and Alex. Thank you both for coming up here. Best of luck with what you have going on moving forward. They're going to be at their tables. You're going to be here tonight, tomorrow. You're going to be here Sunday also.
A bit of Sunday, yeah.
Stop out, get your picture taken with them, get an autograph, tell them that Jeff sent you. All right. All right, thank you both.
Thank you.